Well, good morning. Glad to have you here. These are fairly high-risk events for me because I want to ask probing questions that you find interesting, but I sure don't want to offend you. So I won't be bringing up any wrong bets that he may have made over the years. We'll just talk about the future. Whether you're looking at Obama or Clinton or King, we're not hearing much about energy. And we're certainly not hearing any ideas or solutions. And frankly, haven't heard much out of the White House either. And I know you're going to have a conversation with the president on this subject. What are you going to tell him?
Well, I think the first place to focus is that there's $600 billion a year going out of this country every year for the purchase of oil. And $600 billion, that's 4 times what the Iraqi war cost. Somebody has got to come up with some plan to stop the outflow of that kind of money. I mean, you think about it, at $500 billion, that was $100 oil. Now you're at $120, and you're now moved up to $600 billion a year that's going out. And you know, that's going, Burns, that's going to a few friends and a hell of a lot of enemies is the way I look at that. And we've got to have something different. It's got to happen pretty quick. Somebody's got to come up with a plan.
And what's your plan?
Well, I think that, and people are shocked when I say this, but I think you've got to go to renewables. If you look at what we have available here in the United States to work with, number one will be coal, second natural gas, third nuclear, fourth will be wind, and fifth solar.
What kind of subsidies, or should there be subsidies? How do you get enough of an investment in wind power and solar power and natural gas transportation fuel? Because I guess you've got to have both the conversion for the vehicles, and you've got to have places for them to fill up. How are we going to get enough capital? Is it just going to take the cost of oil and gas being so high that
you've got to get natural gas over to a transportation fuel. So natural gas will do the job for and replace gasoline and diesel. So the second infrastructure has to develop. That's developing now, and it really comes from fleet vehicles is where it comes from. What will happen is that natural gas will be moved out of the power generation sector. Now look at that pie for power generation, and 50% of it is coal, 25% of it's nuke, and 22% of it's natural gas. I think you have to increase the nuclear energy in the country to get loose from our problem. But you also have got to clean up the coal to satisfy a lot of people that think coal is a disaster. It's not a disaster. It's our number one natural resource. So we have to use it. But you start to take the power generation with the nuclear and with the coal. At the same time, you start the renewables. And if you look at the corridor from Sweetwater, Texas to the Canadian border, that is a huge wind corridor. If you take off from Sweetwater and go to California, that is a huge wind corridor also. And you also can put solar in that corridor. This is a huge business that is going to happen. There's no question that it is.
Boone, what is your read on global warming?
I came to the conclusion a couple of years ago it may be, and it may be global warming. But if it isn't global warming, whatever we do to help ourselves, we will help ourselves. So I think that whatever we do to clean up, that's good. The conservation that goes along with some of these things, I think that's good. But all of it has to fit into a plan that works for us.